Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are from group 15 want to present about one of the Islamic scholars known as the father of modern surgery, which Abu al-Qassim al-Zahrawi, and known in the West as Al-Bukasis. Next, our group consists of 5 people. Among them, first ZURAIDA ADLINA, second Siti Aisyah, third Aisyah Salsabila, fourth HUDA, and lastly ZURAIDA. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here can be defined specifically: Islamic science is a scientific activity or knowledge based on the Islamic worldview. Among those related to Islamic science as well is term of Islamic medical knowledge. It is a knowledge of pharmacy, anatomy, bacteria, physiology, surgery, and treatment. The Quran and Hadith also tell a lot related to medicine. Many Muslim Arab figures translated the medical science contained in the Quran and Hadith. Today, we will share about one of Muslim Arab figures in the field of medicine is Abu Qassim al-Zahrawi as the figure in this study. He was a well-known and influential Muslim medical figure. Indeed, Al-Zahrawi was one of the leading scientists and greatest surgeons of the Middle Age. He also known as the father of surgery. Al-Zahrawi also received the title of pharmacist surgeon. He also specialized in the use of different types of medicines.
Well, before we go any further, let me first introduce the Islamic scholar selected by my group. His name is Abu Qassim Khalaf ibn Abbas al-Zahrawi al-Ansari, popularly known as al-Zahrawi and in the West as al-Bukasis or Zahrawius. Al-Zahrawi was born in 936 Masihi in Al-Zahra, close to the city of Cordoba in the Andalusia region of Spain. He lived most of his life in Cordoba. Hence, there he also studies, taught, and practiced medicine and surgery. Al-Zahrawi served as the court physician to Khalid al-Hakam II at a period considered as the golden age of Arab Spain for more than 5 decades. He also an Arab Andalusian physician, surgeon, and chemist. After that, he considered to be the greatest surgeon of the Middle Age and being referred to as the father of modern surgery. Besides, Al-Zahrawi's principal work is the Kitab Al-Tasrif, a 30-volume encyclopedia of medical practice. This book attaining popularity and becoming the standard textbook in Europe for the next 500 years. Al-Zahrawi also pioneering contribution to the field of surgical procedure and instrument. It had an enormous impact in the East and West well into the modern period, where some of his discoveries are still applied in medicine to this day. He traveled rarely and spent most of his life in his hometown as a practicing physician pharmacist surgeon. He devoted his entire life and genius to the advancement of medicine as a whole and surgery in particular. After a long and distinguished medical career, he died in 1013 Masihi at the age of 77.
Next, we move to the writing of Al-Zahrawi, At-Tasrif Liman Ajiz, and At-Ta'lif, known as a very useful encyclopedia of surgery for medical practitioners, especially in the field of surgery, while the book of Al-Makalah fi Amali ala Fanni al-Jarahah be a reference until 21st century. However, based on previous studies, only the book of At-Tasrif was famous than others. The book of At-Tasrif been a reference material for 5th century at the University of Salerno in Rome, Italy, Montpellier in France, and several other universities in Europe. The history of the translation of the book At-Tasrif was first done by Gerard Cremona, an Italian scholar of the Middle Ages and the Renaissance ages. The book of At-Tasrif became famous among Western scholars and became a reference until this century. At the same time, Al-Zahrawi's prowess has paved the way for the scholars of both Islamic and Western science to develop medical and surgical technology in line with today's modern era. The book of At-Tasrif, known as Encyclopedia Al-Zahrawi, contains of 30 volumes, every chapter focusing on a particular discipline or branch of medicine, and serves as a ready reference manual for both practicing physicians and medical students. The volume of surgery, containing a total of 300 pages, was the first medical tome to allocate as many pages exclusively to surgical treatments and procedures. The surgical treatise, which included sections on gynecology, urology, orthopedic surgery, and military medicine, was basically classified into three distinct categories. In 600 years after Zahrawi mentioned the techniques, Farr documented the causes of his temporary artery for migraine treatments. The book At-Tasrif also offers useful information for parents, such as health suggestions and a well-balanced diet. It is used to assist in the manufacture of medications such as herbal medicine. The majority of his medicines are made through distillation and sublimation techniques.
Expertise of Az-Zahrawi. He specialized in eye surgery technique for cataract, nose and ear surgery technique, midwifery technique for maternity mothers, dental treatment technique, stomach and bladder surgery technique, surgical technique for cancer, example breast cancer, treating technique for broken bones. And then he expertised in explaining ectopic pregnancy, and he also the first person to be able to explain in detail about hemophilia. Achievement of Az-Zahrawi. Introducing the surgical instrument he invented and how to use them. And he also created tools, which is surgical tools and examination for the eyes, nose, tongue and ears, and also tools to remove stone in the bladder, tools to remove stage 1 cancer cell, tools for removing dead fetus from the mother's abdomen, tools in the field of dentistry. He also introduced various types of fragrance and full of aroma. He introduced a binding technique on the arm to stop blood flow during severe bleeding, and the method of preparing rubbing oil from basic ingredients were also recorded by him in his work at At-Tasrif. And he also the first to use forceps, which is surgical scissors, to remove gallstone where previously shouldn't use a spoon like tool to remove gallstone.
Now, let's know about the nation of Al-Zahrawi. Around 1000 AD, he wrote his famous book Al-Tasrif Liman Ajaz and Al-Talif, the clearance of medical science for those who cannot compile it. This paper contains 13 papers that contain various information on medical science. Information on medical knowledge is available in Al-Tasrif. This could be used and referenced by the Muslim community at the time. This is because the information is available in Arabic, which is the language used in daily life by all walks of life. Furthermore, he also introduced more than 200 surgical instruments, which is he gave a detailed description of the use of probe, scalpels and hook, design and slitted surgical scissors. Al-Zahrawi has also contributed in providing space for good healthcare service. Throughout the information about medical knowledge revealed in his work Al-Tasrif, Al-Zahrawi has indirectly contributed to the community by providing space for good healthcare service. This is because his essay allude with information about good healthcare. Moreover, Al-Zahrawi also contributed in enlivening translation activities. The contribution in invigorating this translation activity can be seen when his work has been translated into various European languages. The 30 papers specifically dealing with surgery, for example, was translated into Latin by Gerard in the 12th century. Finally, he emphasized child education and behavior, school curriculum and academic specialization. He advised that gifted and intelligent students be encouraged to study medicine after completing their primary education in language, grammar, mathematics, astronomy and philosophy.